Hi, welcome to Waylo's Workshop. I'm Waylo, and this is part 2 of the Moebius model's Dragonfly build. This segment I'm not really going to show you much. I kind of crashed my plane, and I'll explain to you what happened. If you remember in the first segment, we talked about on the sprue. Well, actually here, let's just take a look. Clear assemblies, you've got, again, you've got the exhaust assembly. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if that comes up. You've got the canopy, which is probably the second real challenge of the kit, is going to be masking that really small canopy off to make the top of this white, and then to put the separation between the windows. So that'll require probably a little bit of masking. I was thinking about using bare metal foil for that, but I'll take a look and see exactly how small that is. I might just be able to get away with a little bit of Tamiya masking. Again, here's the base. Okay, so that clear glass piece is what gave me the problem, one of the first problems. I set the model aside to wait for the glue to dry, I took some of this Tamiya speed tape. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. Initially, I was going to use bare metal foil to cover the windows, to block the windows. Cut that out and prime it, paint it, pull the bare metal foil off. It was a great idea. Problem was, when I got up, it was like negative 12 degrees outside. So I decided, yeah, I'm not going to go out in the cold. So instead I thought, well, I've got this 6mm Tamiya tape. So what I'll do is, because I'm watching all these guys build airplanes, all these World War II aircraft, and they're doing, taping off the canopies on these planes. So I thought it would be a good idea to take a shot at it with this tape, and, the trusty X-Acto. The problem with that was, at some point, as I'm trying to trace and outline that tape, I spasmed, I hiccuped, I don't know, what do you call it, a convulsion, but I gouged the window glass. So as soon as I got done shooting that last video, it was like everything went to hell. So I gouged the window glass. So there's just no way to, the space where I gouged it is right across the main panel of the windshield. There was no way to go back in and try to clean that up. So yeah, that was the first fail. So what I decided to do was I was going to go ahead and paint the whole thing. So I glued it onto the model, let it dry, figured I would prime it, paint it, and then black out the window space, and then put a little clear gloss over that black paint, so it would give a reflective effect. It would look still blacked out, and it would still look like window glass. And it seemed like a good idea to me. So I glued that onto the model, let it all dry, took it over to the paint booth. Well, now we had another problem in the paint booth. This is my pressure gauge for my air compressor, and this is the moisture trap attached to it. And the way this works is pretty simple. You hook your airbrush up to it, you hold down the trigger, turn the pump on, and what you do is you adjust this knob back and forth. And what this does is it locks and unlocks in its position. So as you're holding the trigger down, you wait till it gets to the PSA you want. Usually I prime the model at 20 PSI, 20 to 25 PSI. I hold the trigger down, I set this, lock it in place, I'm good to go. Well, once I've locked this, I've never changed it. I always operate at the same air pressure, so I never have to go back and readjust this. So what happens is I go to paint up the model, I bring it to the spray booth, I load up my paint cup, I put thinner, my primer, mix it together, start shooting, and this paint is just not sticking to the model at all. One of the reasons why it's not sticking is because I didn't wash the model. I went right out of the box, cut it out of the sprue, cleaned it up, you know, did the whole glue it together, clamp it. Never wore gloves, so it's got all the oils from my hand, all the mold release on it. So as I'm spraying the primer, and I'm using a here, let me show you. I'm using a Vallejo surface primer. This stuff needs a good, clean, smooth surface to work with. If you've got any kind of impurity or mold release or oil, it'll have a funny reaction to it. So what happens is I'm spraying, the paint's just running. So now I reload the paint cup, I dab off what happened, and I'm kind of confused by it, and I'm not understanding what's going on. So now in the meantime, not realizing it, this pressure gauge somehow readjusted itself when I put it away the last time to 40 psi. So now as I'm attempting to clean up what happened on the model, get a smooth clean surface again, reloading my paint cup, I turn around and I go back and I begin spraying again, and now I'm splattering paint everywhere. In fact, it was so heavily coated at one point I actually thought about throwing away the model. As I tried to clean it up, I actually thought about just boxing up all of this, putting it up on eBay for sale, and quitting forever. So you know, one little trick. I took a combination of airbrush cleaner and airbrush thinner, and in case this ever happens to you, I was able to get a lot of the paint off and the primer off, and that's how I did it. I used these right away. Took some blue shop towels, you know, this guy's here. Used some of these blue shop towels. Just started wiping the model down as quickly as I could, trying to get as much of the primer off as I could. However, it was still a disaster. It was just, I mean, it's 13-piece model kit, and I completely annihilated it because, not because of anything that's wrong with the kit. The kit is wonderful. It's a beautiful little model. It's a great kit to start with. I have nothing negative to say at all. In fact, in the future, I'm probably going to buy another one and do this kit again. But I set the model aside and I thought about it. And I thought, well, I could run out, buy another one, you know, just pick up in the video where I left off and not tell any of you guys any of this, and you'd never be any the wiser. But that's not what we're doing here, right? I mean, we make mistakes when we build, we make mistakes when we do things. I made a whole bunch of mistakes when I was doing this. So what I want to go over with you is the mistakes I made and what I should have done, and how you can avoid making the same mistakes on your model when you're putting it together. So let's go through that. Sorry, I needed a quick sip of coffee there. With the window, the canopy glass, probably the best way of handling that would be to use something like Humbrol liquid mask, covering the canopy glass, priming it, painting it, pulling off the liquid mask, and then turning around from the inside, shooting it with a transparent black. That way the glass from the inside would look smoked. The outside would have the clean lines around the windows here, like you're seeing here on the box art, and that would give you the window the way you wanted to do it. That would be the right way of doing it. Trying to tape off something that's that small, it's impossible, and all you're going to do is do what I did, and you're just going to carve up your windows. Now there might be somebody out there who's excellent with an X-Acto and who can cut little teeny strips and be able to do all that. Reality, I'm thinking mask all, paint the windows out, go ahead and prime it, paint it, peel that away, and there you go. Second thing you want to do is, anytime you get a model, when it's still in the sprue, wash the model. Just go ahead and soak it in some soapy water, give it a good wipe down. as you're handling the model, as you're assembling it, if you're not wearing gloves, before you take it to a spray booth and go to spray paint it, make sure you turn around and wipe it down. Use a little acetone, a little nail polish remover, or a little bit of alcohol on a cotton ball or something that's going to get all the debris off, or a piece of cheesecloth maybe, just to give you a nice clean smooth surface to work with. Let that dry, and then you can go ahead and do your priming. So I think that about covers everything. The one other thing I wanted to talk about was I also used a new product on this that I really liked. This is Mr. Dissolve Putty. This stuff is really excellent. It's a liquid, and the model went together so well that the seam was so thin. It just disappeared when you clamped it up. I had 2 little spots I had to fill in, really no effort at all. But this stuff is wonderful. You paint it on with a paintbrush. I just use a cheap Taklon brush. Paint it into the opening. It dries in minutes. It smells kind of funky, but good stuff. Then what I did was I went back and used a couple of these. They're just different grids, and just worked it down until I smoothed it out. One of the things I did realize that I do need, that I don't have in the big toolbox over here, is a panel line scribe. I need some scribing tools, either a Tamiya or somebody like this. I think the other one is Trumpeter makes one as well that I've seen. It looks more like a hook. Tamiya makes one where the blades are actually replaceable. I'm looking at both of those, but yeah, once you prime this and paint it, it does take a little bit of doing there to put those panel lines back, particularly in the places around where you're knocking down the seam. As places you did the filling in, you're going to be knocking down the mold lines. You're going to want to put them back in. I tried to do it with this. The X-Acto knives are great, but they're not very good for scribing panel lines. You need a real tool that's going to take and cut that out the proper way, rather than trying to just gouge those lines back in. That's never a good idea. Okay, so we're just about finished here with the model itself. I have a few more touch-ups to do. I need to put that clear coat on the window glass there to give the windows the effect that I want them to have, to give them that glossiness where it looks like there's glass in the window. I have a little bit more work to do on blue lining some of the areas, just to give it a little more detail. There and on the top, I don't know if you can see that up on the top of the, there you go. I tried to outline some of the panel lines to give it the lines that you see in the cartoon. In the animated series, you see the door is outlined. There's 3 lines here, 1 line here. In some of them, you see the line up on the tail, and some of the cartoons you don't. Here in the back, what I did was I took a little bit of. I'll show you this product too. This is a maroon tint that I used. It's from a company called Freakflex, and that's the bottle right there, so you guys know what it looks like. This stuff is great. Using clear tints for different things to give different effects, you can literally take a model, use gray, light gray, and dark gray tones, and cover it in this maroon tint, and what you get is a shaded model in red. It's also a great way to make a blood effect. You mix that with a little bit of black paint, and you get that dried blood effect. So it's a nice product. But we're almost there. Got to put the decal on the stand here. I still want to touch up the windows here a little bit more, line those up a little bit better than what I did. But all in all, considering how horrible this looked a few days ago, I'm real happy with the way this is turning out. I'm probably going to do one more quick video just to show you guys a final on it. I really love the kit. I really like the TV show. I like the model. It'll look good displayed up on the shelf here. I'm going to keep this one just to remind me of the mistakes not to make as you're building. I think a lot of us, you know, you have those moments where you want to give up or quit, or the model's not going together well. In this case, this model went together excellently. The mistakes were all mine. Just not following the correct steps, washing the model, making sure I had the proper PSI on the compressor, handling the window glass the right way. It doesn't look terrible the way it turned out. I mean, I got the effect that I was looking for, which is the dark windows. So it doesn't look too bad. So yeah, there, Johnny Quest Dragonfly. So like I said, I'll come back, probably shoot one more quick video just to show you guys how it all cleaned up. I don't know if I'm going to do anything down in here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the intake. I just kind of painted it a Vallejo Model Air Chrome. Oh, that's probably we'll cover in the next video. Will be the colors that I chose and used to paint this with, how I get that cartoony color effect to it, the colors I use for the metallics here, and then the final effects that I use that I'll probably be using with the completed model. So with that, once again, thanks for watching. Trying to do these as live video shoots, so rambling off the top of my head rather than trying to write down on index cards and do voiceovers. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything as I go through all this, but there you go. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.